In this video, we're going to go over the quadratic formula part 2, which is how can you use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions of a quadratic equation. Alright, so a quadratic equation can have two real solutions, such as x squared equals 4, because when you take the square root of both sides, you get positive and negative 2, so it crosses the x-axis twice. Because remember, a solution is where it crosses the x-axis. It can have one real solution, such as x squared equals 0, meaning it only touches the x-axis at 0, it doesn't cross it. Since it touches, it's still considered a solution. Or no real solutions, such as x squared equals negative 4, because we know you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So in the quadratic formula, the value under the radical symbol, which is b squared minus 4ac, tells you how many real number solutions exist. So if we look at the quadratic formula right here, this part in red, which is the part underneath the square root, so the b squared minus 4ac, that is the discriminant. That is also your vocab word for this lesson, discriminant. Alright, so here's a little visual of what I just said. So if your discriminant is positive, okay, if your discriminant is positive, you're going to have two real solutions, meaning it crosses the x-axis twice. If your discriminant equals 0, you have one real solution. So that means it touches the x-axis. Alright, so there's only one intercept. If your discriminant is less than 0 or your discriminant is negative, you have no real solutions, and therefore your quadratic never actually crosses the x-axis, so there are no solutions to it. All right, using the discriminant, what is the number of real solutions to negative 2x squared minus 3x plus 5? All right, so what we're going to do is we're just interested in the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. All right, so a in this case is negative 2, b in this case is negative 3, and c in this case is positive 5. So we're going to do negative 3 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times 5. So we're going to have, this is 9. 4 times 2 is 8, times 5 is 40, and it's negative and negative, so it's plus. So this equals 49. Since it is positive, right, since it is positive, we have two real solutions. So since the discriminant is positive, there are two real solutions. All right, since the discriminant is positive, there are two real solutions. All right, pretty simple, right? You just fill in the b squared minus 4ac. Don't worry about the square root. You don't need it. All you need to determine is this positive, negative, or equal to 0? If it's positive, you have two real solutions. If it's 0, you have one real solution. If it's negative, you have no real solutions. All right, so I want you to try these two. What is the number of real solutions of each equation? Let's go ahead and pause and figure these out. All right, so again, your discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So for this one, a equals 2, b equals negative 3, and c equals 7. So let's plug them in. We're going to have negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 7. All right, so we're going to have 9 minus, now 7 times 2 is 14. So 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is 6. 1, 4, 5. 56. So 9 minus 56, we know that it's going to give us a negative number. So therefore, this problem has no real solutions. So which means the graph of 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 never actually crosses the x-axis. All right, it never actually crosses the x-axis. All right, now let's solve this one. X squared equals 6x plus 5. Well, what we need to do here, we need to get everything on the same side. So we're going to subtract 6x and subtract 5 minus 6x minus 5. So x squared minus 6x minus 5 equals 0. So now a equals 1, b equals negative 6, and c equals negative 5. All right, so let's plug it in. We're going to have negative 6 squared minus 4 times a times c. So we're going to have 36. Negative and negative is a positive, so that's plus 20. So that is 56. So therefore, the discriminant is positive. So there are, that says there are 2 real solutions. All right, the discriminant is positive, so there's 2 real solutions. All right, because here it's positive. Over here, 9 minus 56, we know that's going to give us a negative number. It doesn't really matter what it is, but we know it's a negative number. So therefore, we know that A is going to have no real solutions, and B is going to have 2 real solutions because the discriminant is positive. All right, moving along. Using the discriminant to solve a problem. So it says you hit a golf ball into the air from a height of 1 inch above the ground with an initial velocity of 85 feet per second. The function h equals negative 16t squared plus 85t plus 1/12 models the height in feet of the ball at time t in seconds. Will the ball reach a height of 115 feet? Yes or no? So we need to know if the golf ball will hit a height of 115 feet. So how do we set this up? Well, we know this represents the height. That's what h is. Well, we want to know, will this equal 115? So 115 equals negative 16t squared plus 85t plus 1/12. All right, so here's our equation. Now, the important thing here, as you saw previously, you need to make this equal 0. So minus the 115, minus the 115, 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 85t minus 114 and 11/12. All right, so now let's plug this into the discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. We know a equals negative 16, b equals 85, and c equals negative 114 and 11/12. All right, so 85 squared minus 4 times a times c. And this comes out to be, punch this in your calculator, we get 7225 minus 7354 and 2/3. Now, the negative number is bigger than the positive number, so we know this is going to be a negative number. It's actually going to be negative 129 and 2/3. So since the discriminant is negative, that means that this golf ball will never hit a height of 115 feet. All right, the discriminant is negative, so therefore this equation at 115 feet, let me rephrase that, this equation right here has no real solutions. Therefore, this golf ball will not reach a height of 115 feet. All right, because the discriminant is negative, I'm going to say this again, because the discriminant is negative, that means this equation right here has no real solutions. So therefore, this golf ball will not hit a height of 115 feet. All right. All right, to end this video, I'm going to have you use the previous problem, and it says, without solving an equation, will the golf ball in problem 4 reach a height of 110 feet? I'm going to write the equation in here for you, although you should have it written down. So go ahead and pause the video and figure out, will this golf ball hit a height of 110 feet? All right, so it's going to be 110 equals the negative 16t squared plus 85t plus 1/12. That's a 12. So minus the 110 minus the 110. So we have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 85t minus 109 and 11/12. So A equals negative 16, B equals 85, and C equals negative 109 and 11/12. So now let's plug it in, B squared minus 4AC. So we're going to have 85 squared minus 4 minus times negative 16 times negative 109 and 11/12. Punch all of this bad boy into your calculator. Again, this should give you the 7225. And the other one should give you, I should have done this beforehand. And this should give you negative 7034 and 2/3. So this comes out to 109 and 1/3. 109 and 1/3. So since the discriminant is positive, this stands for discriminant. Since the discriminant is positive, this equation has two real solutions, meaning this one right here, and since this equation, since the discriminant is positive and this equation has two real solutions, that means that the golf ball will hit a height of 110 feet. So the golf ball will reach a height of 110 feet. All right. So now, without solving this problem, we can tell that this golf ball is going to hit at least 110 feet because the discriminant is positive. All right. Because the discriminant is positive, we know that it's going to hit a height of 110 feet. All right. We don't need to solve to figure out how high it is. We don't need to solve to figure out how long it's going to take or how far it's going to go. All we need to do is look at the discriminant. Since it's positive, two real solutions, the ball will hit a height of 110 feet. And like with the previous problem, since the discriminant was negative, it has no real solutions, the ball would not hit a height of 115 feet. All right, so that's pretty much it for the discriminant. You can watch this video as many times as you need to. Make sure when you come to class tomorrow, you're ready to work some problems. See you tomorrow.